we're back with another Beat Roulette. I'm with multi-talented, heavy hitter, legendary, yeah, everybody knows him, Hevy.
Peace and blessings to everybody out there. I go by the name of HevyBeats. I'm CEO of Mile High Drink. And so you guys are getting to tap into a little bit of the personal side where you're going to be able to actually see me create a beat and see how I am when I create my production. So
what we've got today is a couple of dice. I'm going to hand these to you. We've got a USB plugged into the computer already.
Yes.
With the number on the dice associated with a random song that you're going to end up having to sample. Now, the way it goes, before you roll those dice, we'll listen to the song once all the way through, just so you can kind of get an idea. Then I start the clock, and you've got an hour after that to just get creative, make whatever you want to out of it. There's no rules, so there's like as far as like how much or how little. So it's not like we have to be able to recognize that it was sampled in there or anything like that. You can tear it apart as much as you want to, and I mean, that's it. That's it for now. So let me get. Actually, we don't need that yet.
Challenge. And I guess another thing too is I forgot that it's timed. So that's awesome, bro.
So we're gonna roll the dice.
All right. Lucky number, lucky number, lucky number. Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. You know what I mean?
We got 11.
11.
Okay, and 11 is. Can you read what it is?
So it is Aha, Take on Me.
Are you familiar with the song?
I think I am.
Let's give it one listen to if you're ready, and you can start maybe kind of figuring out what you do with it. Hearing anything?
So like usually I'll go through the whole song. And as far as like sampling, what I like to choose a lot is going to be where the drums are out of it.
Okay.
Right? So anytime that I do sample, I'm waiting to hear like a bridge or an intro that has more of no drums apparently. A lot of people like to do those, and there's ways that you can pull out the drums. But that's just like, as far as like sampling, that's what I like to do, is find something that doesn't have these drums in it.
This might be tough then, because I don't know if the drums ever stop.
I think for the bridge it does.
Okay.
And if it does, I think that it minimizes to where it like gets rid of the kick. Make sure that it plays. So now we're gonna have that, but now another thing though too is, so we'll still have to go back into the internet, and we're gonna have to get BPM finder. Okay, so then what that's gonna do is that's gonna allow me to find the beats per minute that sample or that song was made at. But then also some of these BPM finders, what they do is they actually help you find the song key.
Okay.
Which helps out a lot, right? So
Would you say we're starting? Or is this considered starting, or do we need this before we can start?
oh no, this is all considered starting. So
Okay, I'm gonna start the clock then.
my hour is so it's 2:30. My hour will be up at 3:30. Okay, so we have an 84 BPM, we have an A major scale. Okay. So let's go here. So 84. So one thing with me though too is traditionally I don't like utilizing like a normal BPM. I do double time, and the reason why I do that is because I really focus like on a higher BPM for my hi-hats, right, to create that trap, to create that kind of quicker feel.
Gotcha.
And so 84 times 4 is 168, right? So then we'll go down our BPM here, where like the main melody of the beat was actually going on. And it seemed like if it was like around here where that breakdown is. But I think that I'm still going to want to listen real quick. Even this part is really cool. But
Yeah.
you see how like what I'm searching for as far as sample wise is going to be something that doesn't really have a lot of drums in it, right? And some guys like utilizing drums because then what they'll do is they'll layer on top of them, but that's not really what I like to do. I like to have them open to where I can go and create the groove for it, right? I'm trying to decide. I think I might utilize two different parts of it. We're just cropping the sample, so it's like I said, it's the same thing as an MPC. In an MPC, you're going to have an analog, you know, an actual window that's going to show the same thing that I'm doing. So,
What's a typical BPM for stuff you make? Is there like a range that you typically work in?
So like on a traditional BPM, I'm usually around like between 80 and 90.
Okay.
And that's just for my field. But the other thing though too is that I do venture a lot into like your 70s, your 75s, especially for like R&B, the R&B side. You want to be on that lower tempo. But then like if I go into more of like the like poppy type of sound, I'm gonna go into like 95, 100 BPM, that kind of stuff, where it's gonna be more of the kick, you know, that kind of
Like
stuff.
dancier almost?
Yeah, the dancier side. So once again, like right now, I'm trying to find a position to where that click is going to match up on that onto that metronome with that sample, right? It's pretty close. Another thing that a lot of guys like to do though too, so when they're on something like that, they'll pitch it down to where it's going to give a different feel to it, right? Okay. So I actually like that kind of loop just because it's something that's kind of like creating a foundation to it, right? So like even with something like this, I'm gonna keep it because then now, as we had talked before, I'm not really like a big person that does a lot of sampling. But what I do like to do is I like to create sound design, right? So sound design to me is gonna go. Now that I pitch this down, people aren't going to really know it. But what I want to do is I want to create something that's going to make it undistinguishable, right? Something that's unique. And so the great part about Reason is that we are allowed to do like certain VSTs and stuff like that that are built in that are allowing us to create sound design with this.
Okay.
So I'm going to keep this like this right now to still continue with the foundation. I come in. I'm a person that likes to compress everything. I have to compress everything. So like right now I have a solid state, a solid bus compressor that I'm going to go in and add. I compress everything just because that allows me to go in, maneuver the actual volume of certain things the way that I like them instead of just the raw file, right? So now I'm gonna go in. Okay.
So you gotta, I guess, get the sound that you're working with right now just all cleaned up to the point where you're ready to start adding stuff or manipulate it? Okay.
Yep. So like right now, I'm going in and my first thing I'm gonna add is a unison to this. And the reason why I want to add a unison gives it almost like an old tape feel. So since it's an 80s, right?
Okay.
I'm thinking like, how am I going to manipulate this sample to sound sort of like a 80s, you know, cassette.
Okay.
Right? So then
gives it kind of a mood.
Like EQing a lot of things. A lot of producers don't realize that EQing a sample can actually give it a completely different feel as well.
Yeah.
And this is really low, so
The sound?
yeah.
Yeah.
So when I make my beats, I make my beats really low. And then once I get like the great foundation of it, then I'll bring it up a little bit to where I can start placing all the sounds where they need to be. So I added some reverb. With that reverb though, I definitely want to utilize a filter. So this is like a 1 knob filter, but you'll see what it does to it.
Oh, you got that kind of crash noise out of there, which was... I'm wondering if that was a sound effect on the music video. You know what I mean?
It is.
Okay.
So that's when they're like panning in on the pencil and white backboard with all those like frames, and that's what's breaking.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's much better with that going. Yeah.
Oh, and another thing too is that like like samples, a great part about that is it's gonna get masked, right?
Yeah.
So once I start layering all my other sounds on top of it, my bass and everything, you're barely gonna be able to hear that.
Gotcha.
It's gonna sound almost like it was meant to be in there, right? That's
Okay.
what it would end up being. Producers, please label your items on your sessions so you know what's what.
Yeah. Don't forget to label your items in your sessions. What was that tool? That last tool? It was
So this tool is a Kong.
Kong. Okay.
So it's a drum designer, but the thing is that once again, Reason built the Kong to be similar to an MPC, right? And so that's where you can bring in samples and stuff like that, and you can edit them. So if I really wanted to utilize this just like an MPC, all these are going to hit different pads, right? So I can go and chop up a complete sample and have it
Just each piece on a different pad there.
And that's, you know, if I have to break it down like that, I'll break it down like that. But one thing that I like to do though is on our mixing board here, I keep every sound individual. And reason being is just because through Reason, like that, from what I've learned, is just with my mixing, it's easier for my workflow to be keeping every single sound. So like right now, I do want a second part of that. Remember I was telling you, I want that back tail of it, right? So instead of going on here and going and editing it to be on here, I don't want to do that. And the only reason why I don't like doing that is because, like I said, now what I'm going to do is I will duplicate this. Okay, and so when I duplicate this copy, so this is going to be sample number 2, it allows me to manipulate this sound and sound design it separately as to where if I were to put sample 2 on that one, it's all going to sound the same as
Everything you did
1.
to the last sample is going to be applied to the new sample.
Yeah, and I don't like doing that. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that I separate each of my individual instruments. So then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here. We're going to edit this guy, so remove that layer. Right, and so then I'm going to come back in here, bring that sample back in. Let's edit it. And it was this last little part back here that I liked. And we'll have to normalize it because they were fading it out, but I still feel that it can be like a part of like the verse or a bridge or something like that utilized to some. So it's that part. Normalize those, so see how it like
Brings the volume up.
so what
Okay.
it does is it builds it to where it's going to normalize it, right?
Is the change just too dramatic to kind of...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
See, but I'm wondering if it's like, okay, I can keep Let's still keep that. That actually sounds really dope. I like it.
I like it too. What
Yeah,
if what genre are you hearing right now? Like with that?
As far as like drum pattern genre wise,
Like hip hop? Is it like a trap beat type of thing? Is it?
it almost sounds like it's gonna end up being like a trap thing,
Okay.
especially sitting at like an A minor. I think it was A major. I mean,
Trying to get that to focus. There we go.
there's a couple of good drum kits that I do like to go to. Fingerprint has a really good drum, has a bunch of really good drum kits. Also, who has a lot of good drums is the DOPEBOYS. The DOPEBOYS, they have a bunch of kits of DOPEBOY kits.
Okay.
Those are really good.
I don't think I know who that is, but yeah.
So they're producers. I want to say they're from like out in the UK area, I think, something like that.
All right, makes sense.
But they make some really amazing kicks and snares.
DoughBoys. Okay.
That's one thing that I've really been working on, is trying to figure out, okay, how can I create a different side of HevyBeats that's not going to sound like everybody else out there, right? And I think that, so one really dope part about this is right now is I've really been trying to learn a really spread out type of pattern with kick and snare, but then in between utilize a lot of percussion and a lot of hi-hats, right? And so I think that's where I'm going to go with this, is, and you'll hear what I'm saying. So I usually do something like that. Then I'm going to come back in and I'm going to look at the mapping to see where I can place them right to where it's going to be similar of what I'm trying to tell you.
Does Reason record kind of like Pro Tools does, where like did that just make a sample, or does it like in FL Studio it places it on like a grid?
Yep. So you can do both. So you can do this, but then also if I were to bring in an audio track, I would be able to record to where it would be a sound wave.
Okay. All right.
So Reason allows you to do both. So I don't know if I want him on the third position or if I'm going to want him on the second one. You're getting to see what Hepster does, man.
Yeah. I see what you're saying about like the kind of the delayed or whatever you call it, like the beat thing. I think I've heard that like in, like recent tracks from like God, I can't think of who, but I just kind of noticed it recently.
See, and the thing is that a lot of that's coming from the African, style, the Afrobeat.
That makes sense.
Right? Where it's the da-da.
And then there's like take a second. Yeah.
So I've really been trying to push a lot on Afrobeat. Shout out to Mike Coates. He is amazing at creating production like that, man. After I go and I create the real quick pattern with this, I go in and I'm gonna separate these sounds now, the kick and the snare.
Gotcha.
Right, so I go and I duplicate it, just similar to how I was doing with that other one. Come in here.
Get everything on its own channel.
Yep, get everything on its own channel. So then now, because then afterwards I go back through and I mix everything, right? And so I want to make sure that everything has its own individual channels, man. Something with this, I do hear Dope Boy hi-hats, because they have more of like the rugged type of hi-hats.
Okay.
Like this, right? inside this program, right, we were allowed to like have a dynamic hit, right? So a soft, medium, or a hard hit. One thing I really like to do to create a lot of swing is I'm gonna hit.
So it sounds like it's like a different pressure on each one, yeah?
Yeah, exactly, right? And so get a better swing on that. Do something like that and get a bass, right? Come in here, then now come in. Let's try to find some like trap sounding type of hi-hat, right? And the only reason why I say trap is because that's just once again through the sample.
Yeah,
that's what I feel like I can create with it, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. I mean, that's what
I'm not a trap producer by any means. I produce whatever comes out. You know what I mean? Whatever inspires me that day. We're actually a lot farther along too than what I thought I was gonna be.
Oh. How long well, I guess it's kind of a weird question to ask, because I was gonna say how long do you normally spend on a beat, but I guess that could be a big range, right? So
it depends, man. I mean, there's times that I'm down here for hours upon hours, right? Because another thing too is like with my workflow is if I can't create something, I move on, right?
Okay.
So to every 10 beats that you start, you're gonna get one really solid one, right? That's, okay. Everybody knows 10%.
Do you save those 10 beats, or do you just get rid of them?
I do, but eventually what I do is I go through and I'll listen to it, and if it doesn't have any potential for anything, I get rid of it. I don't stay on them. I don't save them. You know, you can see how now that's starting to formulate, right? Solid foundation on that part. Intro is very important. A lot of folks don't realize how important. The first 15 seconds is for a listener. If you ever pay attention to people when they're in their car, their attention span is so short that you have to be able to capture that listener within the first 15 seconds. If you don't capture that listener within the first 15 seconds, they're going to change that radio station, they're going to change that track, they're going to change that whatever they're doing.
So you do that with the beat? Like, I mean, do you ever like plan for like vocals to be there? You know what I mean? Like,
no, majority of the times, like if you listen to a lot of the music that we've created here at My High Dream, we usually do a 4-bar intro. Because traditionally, well, here, let me get into this real quick. Because traditionally what they do is they do a 4-bar intro, a 4-bar pre-chorus, 12-bar verse, and then go pre-chorus into chorus. Or they'll do a 4-bar intro going into a 12-bar verse, 4-bar pre-chorus, and then go into a chorus after that. With me learning what I have, I tend to push a limit that I'm going to do a 4-bar intro and I'm going to go into an 8-bar chorus right away, because I want to get the listener captured right away. And then from there, what I can do is then I can start breaking it down as far as, you know, variation in the song, variation in the production with vocals and instrumentation, right? What I want to do is I want to create another sample track, because what I'm going to do is I want to take a piece of the instrument of the actual song so that it showcases what we got the sample from, right? So
like an homage.
Yeah. So
that's cool. I guess it kind of shows the flip too, right? Like, so people be like, "Oh, I know this song," and they're like, "Oh, that's what he just did with it."
And that's very common with sample flippers too. You know what I mean? That's what they're going to do, is they're going to play that little intro of what they actually have, and then they're going to go in and they're going to, you know, flip it somehow, some way. How much time do I got?
Oh yeah, forgot to check the clock. 20 minutes.
20 minutes, cool.
Yeah, I feel like you're kind of making a lot of progress. I don't know.
We're there, brother.
You'll be done way before.
Oh, yeah,
done.
here. Yeah.
Okay.
That's gonna sound so dope, bro. That's gonna sound dope. But what I want to do though is I want to bring.
That sounds dope.
Yeah. So now it's me having to go in and find bass, right? Because then once I have that, then I can go back through and I can find chord progressions, bring like synths in, something like that in.
That bass is crazy. I don't know if the camera's picking it up. It's just that fucking how deep that is.
Yeah, I like that one because I think that that's gonna make a good transition with this. You might have to call a bro. Yeah. So one thing I'm gonna want to do is, because of it being kind of off with the intro, I want to take this decay down a little bit, but then I am going to add in something to get it back on.
It's like another tool you're gonna add on it.
So then now I'm gonna add in an audio track. And it's not a tool. It's actually just I'm gonna utilize my vocal tag, because then that vocal tag is gonna allow it, because it has an effect in there, so it'll allow it to sound correct. So I'm trying to hurry.
You still got 10 minutes.
That hour went by fast, bro.
It did. That hour went by really fast.
This is a HevyBeats production.
Ah, I gotcha.
See what I mean? And obviously I'm going to lower it down, right, to where it's not so high. But that effects trailing into that allows it to be a lot more smooth. I think I found some. I'm going to want this in the background of that. But I think I'm going to let that vocal hit first, and then after that vocal, I'm going to come in with like a little bit of a lead. See what I mean?
It turned into like funhouse, kind of weird. Yeah.
Are we out of time?
You're at 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
2 minutes and 40 seconds. Oh shit!
So, I thought the song came out great. I like the way the sample sounded. Like you took kind of like almost like a happy song. You know, it's like a happy poppy song. Turned it into like it's kind of dark now.
Dark,
you know, yeah. Like I like that a lot. How similar or different is this to beats you normally make? Like, is this, you just say this is typical, or is this very different from what you normally make?
It actually isn't different. The reason why I say that though is because the processes are the same. When I go through and so the one process that's different is I don't have a sample. What I'll do is I create something that sounds like a sample.
Okay.
Right. So that's the sound design that I was talking to you about. Got really away from doing samples just because of the clearance issues and stuff like that. I didn't want to have to deal with that a lot.
Sure.
And so that's where I really started doing loops that sound like samples. But then what I go and do is I'm going to go and manipulate that with sound design to be able to sound very similar to this.
Right.
And so it's the similar process.
Yeah, it's a lot of your beats to me sound like very clean, like, you know what I mean, like a very high production level, like just very crisp, you know. So that's why we had that conversation before this was. I was like, because a lot of like sampled stuff has got kind of that gritty kind of feel to it, you know what I mean? And I was like, I don't know if you do that. I don't know if you even like doing it. You know what I mean? So I was like, I agree. Well, because it is a sample, I feel like a sample is always going to have like a little kind of grittiness to it in some type of way. I think this sounds like something. I mean, your beats are hard to play sometimes though. Well, occasionally I'll know it, but not always. You know what I mean? I don't know if I would know this one.
And that's good.
Yeah.
And it's good and bad. And the reason why I say that though, Shaun, is because I have encountered a lot of like A&Rs and stuff like that when I showcase my music to them, a lot of them get detoured because I don't stay specific to one genre. I don't stay specific to anything, right?
Yeah.
And that's like what you're saying. You wouldn't be able to pick this out.
Yeah.
Right? But I want that.
Yeah, you want to be able to.
I don't want to be on the same playing field as everybody else, and that's like the whole reason why I said I didn't want to make it like if I am a trap producer, because I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I come down here and I honestly allow myself to be inspired from a blank page. You have to be able to be inspired from a blank page, because if you're not, then you're not a producer, you're a beat maker. And it's not to bash anybody, right?
Yeah.
But that's not, when I come down here and I make my music, I don't like utilizing loops. I don't like utilizing things that are going to force me to make something to sound like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that, and I never really have. So that's where I've truly have embodied just trying to create on my own.
Just expressing and being creative and all that kind of stuff.
Whatever comes that day is what comes that day.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Could you hear anybody on this? Like any artist on this beat? Does it sound like something you could imagine somebody on?
Right now, who I can hear on it would be, I would honestly say that my really good brother Faux Chief would be on it. Faux Chief is an amazing artist. And the reason why I say that is because Faux Chief is very expressive in that kind of like darker way, so I can hear his vocal on it. I can also hear like almost a DNA on this.
That wouldn't have come up in first for me, but now that you say that, I think I could hear that too.
Yeah, and once again, I think it's just because it's the spacious, like type of vibe, like kind of slow vibe. I think that would be really dope.
Yeah, I could hear a singer or a rapper on it.
Yeah.
About halfway through, I was like, oh, you could sing on this. Yeah. So I was like, it could go either way. Is it something that you're willing to put out? Like, get it all, put your finishing touches on it and stuff like that? Is it something that you're willing to?
Put an hour into it, but that's it. But once again, though, the hard part about that is you would have to go and get it clearance. Am I willing to do it? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Why wouldn't I? Right? It's something that's going to be allowing me to show how expressive I go through it with music, right?
So last question, as far as figuring out the sample, what would you rate the difficulty level on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being the hardest.
That was probably about an 8.
Was it because of the sound or because of like trying to clean it up or...
I think it's because of the song itself.
Yeah.
Trying to create something that is going to be attractable, not in that realm, in that genre of music, right?
Yeah.
That's what's challenging to it. How do you turn that into something that's going to be in the realm of hip hop?
Yeah.
That kind of thing, right? I would definitely put it as an 8.
Okay.
Definitely put it as an 8.
Cool. Well, you made it look easy. Good job. Thank you, Heavy.
Awesome,
That's it.
man. Thank you for coming through, Shaun.